Hi everyone, welcome to the Eva-Lyn Blanket video tutorial. I'm Natasha from Buttonnose Crochet and I'm going to run through this easy blanket so even beginners can do this blanket, as there are only 3 stitches to remember. Now US terms is double crochet, single crochet and chain. UK terms treble, double crochet and chain. Now the pattern will be available free on my blog in US terms, and it will be available in my Ravelry store and my online store for $3 if you're wanting the PDF for this pattern. If you wish to support a designer, that'd be a great way for you to help out, as designing does take quite a bit of time. Now this blanket is a 2-row repeat, so we've got like a granny stitch, and then the next row is a single crochet, chain 2. So that's the pattern repeat for this round. So just 2 rows. You can do as many rows as you like in one color, or you can just do the 2 rows in one and change color. But this is a perfect stash busting or scrap blanket. For a scrap blanket, I'd recommend just rolling all your scraps up in a ball like this and just crochet away. The pattern does come in preemie to king size, so check out the starting stitches, starting chains on the blog, because this is just a tutorial of how to do the stitch, not the actual how many stitches and continue on. So to start with, you'll need a hook that's slightly larger than your recommended yarn. So for this yarn, I've used a 5mm hook, so it all depends what yarn you're using, but you want drape in your blanket. You don't want it too loose, but you want drape. So I used a 5mm hook. And also too, you'll need some scissors to cut the ends if you're changing colors. Now part of this tutorial will be the border. So for this border, I wanted a clean looking border around the sides, because we all know when you crochet in the side of a blanket, it can look a little bit ghastly. So I'll go through the border as well for you. It's just a simple border just to round it off. If you don't want a border, it's perfectly fine as well. So let's get started, and we'll start the Eva-Lyn Blanket video tutorial. Okay, to start the blanket, we need to make a slip knot and put it on your hook. Now for the purpose of this video, I will only be doing a sample swatch, so refer to the pattern for how many chains you want for the size that you wish to make. So I'm going to chain 30, so we need to have a multiple of 3. Now you don't want your chains to be too tight, otherwise the bottom of your blanket will bow. So that's 30 chain. Now the pattern says to start round 1, the pattern says to double crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook. Now if you're used to doing 3 chains at the start of a round, simply do an extra chain. So double crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook, and that first chain 2 counts as a stitch. Next we want to skip 2 stitches, 3 double crochet into the next, and we just repeat that until we have 3 stitches remaining. So skip 2 stitches, 3 double crochet into the next. So technically, if you've done a granny stitch blanket from the bottom like this before, this is exactly what it is. It's just granny stitch. So pause the video and I'll meet you back at the end of the row when you have 3 chains remaining. Okay, so I've got 3 chains remaining. I've done the repeat of skip 2 chain, 3 double crochet in the next. So what we want to do to finish off this row is make 2 double crochet into the last chain, and that is row 1 complete. Let's go on to row 2. Okay, to start row 2 we want to chain 1 and turn, single crochet into the first stitch, chain 2, skip 2 stitches, single crochet into the next, and we just repeat that, chain 2, skip 2 stitches, single crochet into the next. So your single crochet will always sit in that middle double crochet of the 3 double crochet group. Chain 2, skip 2, single crochet. A very simple pattern repeat for this blanket. And like I said, it's a great way to use up your stash or even your scraps. So just continue that until we get to the end, and our last single crochet will be made into the top of the starting chain 2. So just put your hook in there and single crochet. So let's go on to round 3. We need to chain 2 and turn, double crochet into that same stitch, into that first stitch, the single crochet. Now like I said at the start of this round, if you normally do a chain 3 at the start of your double crochet rounds, do a chain 3 here also. Next we want to skip the chain 2, 3 double crochet into the single crochet. And we just repeat that, skip the chain 2, 3 double crochet into the single crochet. And just repeat that until you get to the end. So pause the video and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row, and just do 2 double crochet into that last single crochet. And that is the round 3 complete. And basically you just repeat rounds 2 and 3 until your desired size, or however many rows are written in the pattern. So as you can see, it's a very simple pattern to follow, and it's a great way to use up your scrap yarn and stuff. So just repeat row 2 and 3, so chain 1, turn, single crochet into that first stitch, chain 2, skip 2, single crochet, and you repeat that to the end. So pause the video, and the next part of this video will be the border. So come back and I will go through the border with you. Okay, so I finished my little sample swatch here, and I fastened off on the last stitch, finishing with a row 3 repeat. And what we're going to do is now do the border. So to do the border, we are going to start in the bottom corner where the first row finished. So obviously if you're left-handed, you start on this side and work your way to the left, but if you're right-handed, you start on the left side and work right. So to get your border colour, I'm just using cream, and attach your yarn into that. Let's get the ends out of the way. So attach your yarn into that bottom of that first stitch. Now for this part of the border, if you haven't got control of your tension, go up a hook size. Otherwise, slip stitch loosely into each chain along the bottom. So what we're doing is slip stitching around the edge of the blanket. So the idea is to just take your time when you're slip stitching. Now if you don't want to do this part, it's perfectly fine. Just basically start with round one, where you will be starting in the same stitch here, but you'll be doing single crochets. So just pause the video, and when we get to the end I will show you how to go up the side. Okay, so I've slip stitched to the last stitch in the corner. What you want to do is place a stitch marker into that slip stitch, because that will mark your corner when you're doing the next round. So to work up the side of the blanket, you'll make 2 slip stitches into the double crochet row, 1 slip stitch into the single crochet row. So again, if you're not used to your tension, go up a hook size. So that's how you do it. 2 slip stitch per double crochet row, 1 slip stitch per single crochet row, and you just continue that until you get to the last until the top of the last row. So that's how it'll be. This also too is a good foundation if you want to do a double border. So I won't do a video tutorial for that, but there are video tutorials out there for a double border. So if you want to enclose your ends into a double border, you're more than welcome to. Okay, so I'm on the last row here. I just want to put it into the top of that starting chain 2. Place a stitch marker, and then we want to turn our work and slip stitch into each stitch to the next corner. So pause the video and I will meet you at the next corner. Okay, so I'm at the, put a slip stitch into the last stitch and placed a stitch marker. Next, just simply turn your work and work 2 slip stitches into the double crochet row, slip stitch into the single crochet row. And just work your way down until the corner. As you can see, it's nice and even. So pause the video and I'll meet you at the first corner. Okay, so I'm at the start of the round, so just slip stitch into that first single crochet, into that first slip stitch. And that is where we'll start. So we'll need a stitch marker for the first round. So once you've done that, we'll go on to the next round. Okay, to start round 1 of the border, chain 1, 3 single crochet into that first slip stitch, place a stitch marker into the second single crochet, that is the corner, single crochet into each slip stitch. So what you do is you put your, see where it has the V, put your hook into that, in between the V's, so, and then you just single crochet, and that way the front loop of the slip stitch creates this neat effect. Now you can otherwise, if you don't want to do that, you can actually go underneath the chain and single crochet that way, and that way you can have a neater finish. So that's how it would look if you went underneath the chain. So just continue that until you get to the next stitch marker. Just single crochet into each slip stitch, which is technically the back loop. And yeah, so I'll pause the video and I'll meet you at the next corner. Okay, so I'm at the next corner with this stitch marker, so just remove the stitch marker and make 3 single crochet into that corner slip stitch, and then move the stitch marker into the second single crochet. Now we want to do the same along the side, so single crochet into the back loop of the slip stitch and work your way down, and just repeat that around. So single crochet in each slip stitch to the corner with the stitch marker, 3 single crochet in the corner slip stitch, and just repeat that right around, and I'll meet you back at the start of the round where we'll slip stitch into the first single crochet. So pause the video and I'll meet you at the start. Okay, so I'm at the end of round 1 of the border, and I've single crocheted into each of the slip stitches around. So to start round 2, just move that stitch marker, slip stitch into the next stitch, chain 2, which counts as a double crochet, and then double crochet into the same stitch, 2 double crochet into the next, and then we want to double crochet into each stitch until the stitch before the stitch marker. So pause the video and I'll meet you at the corner. Okay, so I'm at the stitch before the stitch marker, and then we want to do 2 double crochet into the next stitch 3 times. So we're creating our corner. So in those 3 single crochets in the corner, we make 2 double crochet in each of those 3 single crochets. Okay, so that's the corner. Next, double crochet in each stitch to the next until the stitch before the stitch marker. So repeat that around. So double crochet in each stitch before until the stitch before the stitch marker, and then do 2 double crochet into the next stitch 3 times, and then repeat around. So pause the video and I'll meet you back at the start of the round. Okay, so I've got 1 stitch remaining, so 2 double crochet into that last stitch. And slip stitch to the second starting chain. And that is round 2 complete. Now, reverse single crochet for round 3 is completely optional, but I will show you how to do it. So let's start on to round 3. Okay, so I've just changed colours so that way you can see what I'm doing. So we want to chain 1 and single crochet into that same stitch. Now with reverse single crochet, you're actually working the opposite way to what you're used to. So you'll be so if you're right-handed, you'll be working that way instead of right to left. So next we want to, so this is our next stitch here. So we want to insert our hook into that stitch, pull up a loop, complete a single crochet. So we're just doing reverse. It can take a little bit of getting used to. So into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And what happens is when you're doing your single crochet backwards, you get this nice rolling look. And you just do that right around into each stitch. So it just gives it that nice little edge to it. So pause the video and I'll meet you back at the start and I'll show you how to finish off. Yeah, so I've done reverse single crochet right around, and I've just done one in the last stitch. So what I do to finish off, I just simply just slip stitch. You have to get your hook around there and then just fasten off. And sew in all your ends, and if you want to block your blanket you can. So that is the Eva-Lyn blanket, and I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and if you have any questions, please comment below and I'll try and answer them as quick as possible. If you want, subscribe, and I will try and bring some more video tutorials to you. That is the plan. And yeah, so thank you for watching, and I will catch up with you with the next video. Bye.